So junior year flight school has officially begun on Funimation. We had a long ass delay due to Sabo being a bitch. We're supposed to incorporate anime Torque Battle and the Air Rail in 2020 because that's when junior year where it mattered, because that's when the storyline is fucking complete, because that's when we fucking adapted the cranes and we recognized it was wrong. That's when we recognized we couldn't live every day in 8th grade, but that's when we're all together and we fucking go out to the fullest. Junior year was supposed to be nothing but surpass our limits, supposed to our limits in competing after everything was already established. Let's get to it. But what ended up happening in 2020 instead was I ended up having my best friend Randolph flaking the dance battle because he had to, because they were harassing him. So we have a couple of battles in the vote, just in case you want to say that junior year isn't happening. We got me versus Black and Chaos. Black was Akame from Akame Got Killed, and I was Supreme Kai. We still got Mia Shinobu versus Aqualad Taz, aka Raza Sensei if you watch season 1. We have a couple of anime Torque battles, one with me and Bree, and the other one was an ex-member of Platinum. There's also one with me and Els and many others. But what's the whole point of this video? Okay, so junior year has begun officially, and it's pretty fair because now we get to share junior year for everyone, because now all the freshman year dark gamers and the real junior year skill sets can come in, arts come and play, and we can finally, you know, put this world to the test, because I couldn't apply it last year because we did adapt to, you know, Sky High, Shinobi Striker, us hanging with our girls, but we couldn't embrace it because trolls still existed. Even though cringe they existed, trolls still existed. They were trying to bring back the cringe philosophy. There's nothing to life, so let's do nothing. My side of the field is embracing life for what it is to its fullest. Now we can finally live in this world freely with, you know, understanding. That's why a lot of the dark gamers I trained a lot of people out finding this channel moderately. I didn't teach you how to be a black belt yet. I taught you how to read situations like one. To be a black belt, you have to have a physical revelation to the point where you don't have the same eating habits, to the point where you don't have the same thought processes, to the point where you have to go to not only a diet change or meditation, which also, you know, takes excessive training. I taught you martial arts the same way a gangster tells you how to make jokes. I tell you how to do something around the subject, but I tell you to do it so much to the point where you mastered it. That's not actually, you know, taking the actual literal definition term and getting approval from a teacher, yet get a stamp from, you know, somebody truly professional. So there was a whole lot of ruckus that went on last year, so I ended up having to fight Christopher Sabat and Sean Schemmel because I could not, you know, get them to understand the Air Rail was a bunch of, you know, diaper heads that didn't want to get out the crib. They believed in their talent so much, and Sean and Chris went to the very ends of Earth. They already knew that they were gonna die. That's what ended up happening is Sean wanted to tell Stone, I can't kill you now because this isn't a fair fight. So I have to give him a fair fight before he gets to Hollywood with no pain and suffering, because I went through hell and back in order to become the voice actor of Goku. What ended up happening was I did not realize that a blood could do this. I thought like really humans are just humans. So I figured out that when a blood needs a certain operation done, like if they need like a good operation done, they do something where they knock themselves out when they put themselves in a different mindset. So what, you know, Christopher Sabat and Sean did was they made this funny ass joke that lasted over 50 fucking episodes. Every day I was whipping Sean's ass. Like, just give up. He can't make a life. Why try you get him pregnant next? How much you want to defend him? And Chris, how the fuck are you the voice actor for Vegeta yet you're not signed for him to get muscles? What the fuck is this delay on Nas? Both of you, are you gonna use him as a shield? This nigga is a reuse condom over and over again. In all seriousness, they hated how cowardly the Air Rail were. They were doing it specifically because they did not like how they were able to escape somebody being at the same level and delayed so long to a point where he was stronger in one aspect, but they made sure that they were always stronger in one thing, their ignorance. How do I become so much better than you, yet you keep yourself relevant? Like, yeah, I'm still at my mom's house and I still use the score, but I'm going outside 9 times out of 10, and you still feel like you can trap me in this imaginary world where I stay the same as soon as I talk to you online when I'm bored and use the excuse that I'm still around the same area. That shit where infuriates Sean, because that's his generation. When he grew up, he had to fight people just like that to put him in the same situations, but they were at the same level. They couldn't hide. They didn't have the right to have smartphones and shit. They had to fucking chase Sean every single day. You have the right to, you know, like, stay back and gain some perspective. No, they kept on hitting Sean over and over again. It was disgraceful because he could never, ever get away. So what would happen if they made Sean dodge a whole bunch of bullets, which he did before? What would happen if they hit Sean record, which they had before? Got a piece of rock stuck in my skin literally when I got hit, and there was probably a piece of glass that got stuck in Chris and Sean's head with all those fucking bar fights. So guess what would happen if he was on the older generation and Stone hit him with the shit he hit me that night? Sean would have crumbled because he put his whole life and energy into it because those people were actually fighting back. They made sure to get his emotions involved. And it was so fucking out of pocket to the point where Sean couldn't take it anymore. So you know what he told Stone? He's like, I'm gonna let you think that you gotta have a chance to get in, but I'm gonna torture you every single step of the way. So what he did was he knocked himself out. So every time he had me roll Stone over and over again, it was the equivalent of me fighting him because he was mad. So you know what they did? Like what Chris told the truth, or Christopher Sabat told all of them. This guy is comparable to me in my prime. I can't take him because I'm old. Even if I could take him, I'll have to resort to an after image. So in order to make this a fair fight, I'm gonna play Naruto at its own game. I want you to think. I want you to think that I'm overpowering him with this and that, because that's exactly what you're doing. When I knock myself out, I make sure Sean's knocked out too. So if you try to pull this whole shit, oh, he only got to hang out with his girl because he's a celebrity, or remember, he got the chance to take off Christopher Sabat and Sean Schimmel. So every single time I had to though lock Chris down, like, why you keep on making excuses for Stone? Why you keep on making excuses for Sean? And I had to really kick both their asses. I'm like, okay, they do come for the alteration. Are they testing me? So I fought Chris and Sean a couple of times. I was sort of fucking cheating. That was one thing he was scared of. The biggest thing that Sean was scared of is literally, they know this thing called a scheme. The Air Rail has this thing called a scheme where they literally trap you in wordplay. They trap you in a situation and they take pieces of the conversation and they hit you with it. Like literally, when they say build things, I'm like, Sean, I know you made it, check out my build, but it's not a thing. And then Sean will literally fucking put their shirt up in the air and look at them like, what the fuck you say about me? And True be like, of course, it's not a thing, you're 1,000 times stronger than me. Shit that he cannot deal with that I adapted to, so that's why it was fair. He had all the skills of the older generation. It was versus me who adapted to technology, so I'm dealing with their ignorance. So the whole time I'm roasting Stone, Sean's like, what about me? What about me? I'm like, are you not gonna be the voice actor of my sensei? Are you not gonna help me make nods and shit like that? You really expect me to fucking take this military situation over the course of the elephant statue? And his one fear is if I would have to fight him, when I use that scheme shit on him, I'd be like, hell yeah, you know why? Because you come from an older generation, I would have to, but I wouldn't do it on the Air Rail, and I would only do it on a gang member if they push me to my last limit. That's cheating. I learned something in school and I use it in order to deal with a gang. If I'm currently not in school and I don't have my diploma, that's the gang's angle. A gang can play off that hole, and what they're trying to do is they're trying to make you expand. Like you're on the streets just like me because you didn't go all the way what you wanted to do, where in reality they couldn't control the situation. They can only control the situation at a certain amount of time. And when they run out of time is when they try to get physical. If they don't work being physical, they have to leave. And so Sabo's dumbass literally gated the extension, letting them know that I am more mental than physical, that literally I have to get to myself mentally, because if I beat their asses, that means that I'm a man and they're trying to pretend that I'm a bitch. And he was getting infuriated, so what they did was they knocked themselves out. Every single time I covered something, they knocked themselves out. Like I covered this yesterday, and he was like, what is keeping him intact? And I was literally fucking, if I had to do it against Stone, I had to do it against fucking Chris. So let me tell you the whole fucking rundown on how I fucking shut down Foundation. You know, when I made that one beat with the chick from Law and Order, I did that so I could specifically get her in the courtroom office. Because Chris was trying to do some snaky shit. He wasn't trying to get non-animated right away. He wanted to go, do his fun time. And one of the biggest excuses he had was cringe. Why would I drop nods under cringe generation? And I told him there's more dank than cringe because there are more dark gamers than there are Discord faggots. He didn't want me to drop it at the time. And that's specifically why I changed the world. Where Chris is coming out is I can't make Bayside, while I'm 30 because I'm young and I'm really motivated to do a movie and he wants me to do it in my prime. And if we have to delay it for cringe, that's why, we ended up, using computer sequence. We're going to end up using a serve machine because you can't use a serve machine if it's for a good purpose, but it has to be within the human limitation. You can't use a serve machine for cheating. Like if you can't do it yourself without effort, you can't use a serve machine. So what it's going to do is it's going to speed up what you can do with effort. That means if we're making excuses for ourselves or if we're in a tight situation like this, we can use the serve machine to make Bayside. The great thing about when I was young, that Chris and Sean, and when I got them to cooperate, they were trying to get kicked out, but they were trying to control it. They got kicked out, and literally was trying to get them to stay, but they felt bad because they tried to literally say, kill me over here, because Sean was getting mad, because I got here by doing nothing but nigga shit. I got here by being a drunken motorcyclist. I got here by not having self-control, and all Eric still was adapted to self-control. He listened to Mr. Eric, he listened to this rat cock, and he adapted to cringe, where I could do none of that. Or cringe is a state of critical processing when your face does, a physical gesture that implies that you're pissed off and that somebody's being tentacle to a bone where he can't let you be, free. He can't let you have a soul. I can get that is listening to information on top of information on top of information and filling hole on top of hole on top of hole. Like, and I got that by listening to every fact about Dragon Ball. This is what's happening when you're processing too much information, which is very good for perfecting a movie script, which is very good for perfecting, writing, but it's not good for, casual conversation. Because you took in the time and effort, you didn't just do what you wanted. It's a very, very tough thought process. I have the same thing while I'm making the AMV. When I'm trying to add lore to my AMVs, like, fucking, you can't fucking transition this clip into that clip, because this doesn't fucking suit the feel, suit the theme, suit none of it. You just used it because it worked. So Cringe is connected to Hit's time skip, and what makes me more unique than Sean and Chris while I was able to beat them was because they have a mindset that works on flow. One flow is everything, but they can do everything within that flow because they come from an older generation. They can read riddles better, they can tell your ideas better, but they're older, they're not in their prime, and I can do the same thing that they can do. And my six-pack is comparable to them. Both Sean and Christopher Sabat have been somewhere 300 pounds, and I've been 280, but it's 280 with strategy. And plus I have condensed motion, that means I have lean muscle, that means I'm built like a bullet. That means, like, they have more technique and shit, but if they try to block and shit, my hits do damage. I'm twice as fast, so you gotta have to learn how to evade and shit with me. So there are 300 in flow, and I am 280 of a technique that can stop the process of flow, because I can get into my own zone that's separate from yours. I'm in my own little world. So when you're paying attention to a situation, I have a free, calm, cool, and collect mindset like in martial arts. So when they're trying to get me mad dealing with Stone and everybody else in the air rail, I can revert my mindset back to its original state like nothing happened. While they're stuck in their emotion, literally, I'm stuck with a clear mind. Literally, there's this big bubble around me that's like, what can I do right now? Okay, so this is happening situation where they're focused on making me dramatic. So what ended up happening in the process of this massacre of me literally fucking taking advantage of me belittling Sean Schemmel and Christopher Sabat for not using strategy, but it's not the fact that I used strategy, I used it at the right moment. What it wasn't a tug of war feat. I ended it quickly, like I took advantage of the fact that you're a human. And I connected both feet to Sean's fucking eyes, and I went down on my feet and it closed his eyelids. And I hit Christopher Sabat in the gut with my elbow. The whole time, the whole Chris community is supporting this because this ruins the after it was a Dragon Ball Z. Like, really, everybody was all like, oh, the Almighty Warriors, all the legendary voice actors of Dragon Ball Z are getting dogged with this pretty boy who followed education. I made it very clear to them, yo, I love Dragon Ball Z when I was younger. I loved everything when I was a kid. I just didn't grow up on Naruto. I strictly grew up on DBZ. Now I think I'm gonna let this fall flat and let you think I'm not appreciative of anything you did for me. It came down to a point where I hit Chris with Soldier Reviewing Light, because they're a stir machine. We can imitate anime fight scenes. We use the truth serum to put ourselves back to life. Well, it ended up me trapping Chris with Soldier Reviewing Light, me going in and out with the Kurama Leak Mode Naruto, something that Christopher Sabat has no patience for. It will never, have the patience for it. It's already in the 400 episodes of Naruto. Shippuden, not the first one, Shippuden, and I was able to keep up with it because I was up to date watching week by week. So what ended up happening is I needed to change in order to do this move. You don't know what's the difference between the Kurama Leak Mode and it stays at 6 paths because they're both similar. Like Naruto turns all orange. Kurama Leak Mode is when he increases speed, where he fuses to a nine-tailed fox. Uses it as a skin. So I'm whooping fucking Christopher Sabat in and out of the Sword of Reveal Light with the fucking Kurama Leak Mode. Then at the end, while he's still held down by the swords, I heal with the Father-Son Kamehameha by add lightning at the end. So I blasted Christopher Sabat at his face, and he was all like, Mommy! Mommy! I'm like, damn. And even though he's still crying to his mommy, he's still incredibly badass. All these nerds know, Naruto didn't beat Christopher Sabat, Zane beat Christopher Sabat. I had to use every anime technique at every moment. It was worth it. And I thought Chris was a goner, but he really wanted me to surpass my limits. I had no idea that they were both knocked out. And they really gave me the best chance of my life to let me know why I put off my generation. So now that I told you the story, I'm gonna make a comic version of how I beat Christopher Sabat and Sean and Nons. The main character of the movie is gonna be Zigo. There's also Zinni, but Zinni can't be the villain because he's too spoiled and this is more admirable. So the main character of this is Zigo. Zigo is where I learned about, lore, and I didn't like how Bebop, Spike, Zigo, okay, whatever. So Zigo is supposed to be Zane in this movie, and he's a mixture of kind of like Meta Knight and Zane. And it's gonna be a big ass fucking turn where everybody's observing. Zinni can be in the stadium, but he can't be the main villain of the show. And plus, Zigo sounds more badass. But this is a big ass Funimation update.